killed Ruiz because he got in the way of my future. What Kanan didn't know, what Kanan couldn't tell you, is that I gave Ruiz one more chance. I asked him to change his mind. He didn't. So he forced my hand.
All right, y'all. So, since we're gonna be waiting at least a year for that Raising Kanan season 5, and I guess that development of when we do get Power Origins, there's like a few things that caught my attention, and I was really thinking about like regarding like Power Origins and some of the things that we should be looking forward to, and some of the things that we should really expect, because there's been like a few characters, well, mainly two characters I can think off the top of the dome that we haven't seen yet. And we're gonna go off of Ray Ray, right? Because Ray Ray plays like a very crucial part in like Power, because you know he killed Raina and it was a big part. But I wonder if they're gonna give us Ray Ray where like before he was a cop, right? And I wonder, is he gonna maybe meet Jukebox and like Raising Kanan, right? Or is he gonna, we might see him in like in Power Origins, like maybe a small crucial role. Like I'm thinking in a way where obviously he's not gonna meet like Ghost and Tommy or any of that, right? I highly doubt that. Like he's not gonna meet them, but what if it's either Kanan or Jukebox? Right? Is it's like, oh, you know, this kid Ray Ray from around the block or whatever, and then he gets into like a little bit of mischief, but then I don't know, like he just, you know, works on his journey to like becoming a police officer or something. But I wonder if like we're gonna get him in a way, even though he wasn't like a big character. Obviously, he wasn't like a big character, but he did play like a crucial role in the original Power when he killed Raina. So I'm like, I do wonder if we're gonna probably see him. And then another character I was thinking about was like Ruiz, because we did see, well, we didn't see, but it was hinted in Power Book 2 Ghost where Lorenzo Tejada, I guess, was working with Ruiz or doing some sort of form of business with him. So I'm like, okay, we got that bit, but we do know Ruiz did also, well, he was in the original Power, but I wonder if we're going to see him in Origins as well, because I think like all of the characters that we see in the original Power, we probably might starting to see like maybe glimpses of them, maybe like in Power Origins. And because again, like I know like Power Origins is going to be like big, because we're going to get to see like, you know, characters that who we never seen before, and then maybe like returning characters where it's just like, oh, okay, this and that happened. And then I guess like probably like maybe going forward with like Power Origins, like maybe that season 4, maybe that season 5, depending on how long they want the story to go for, where Ghost is gonna kill Breeze, and then eventually he's gonna send Kanan to prison. But see, I got a theory on that, where I think that if they are gonna do this correctly, they could do it either or, where they can have it in season 4, where Ghost kills Breeze, Kanan gets pissed off about it, and then they wait to the 5th season, the final season, of having Ghost send Kanan to prison, and then is eventually like Ghost and Tommy that's going to take over the streets. Because I think another reason why he like Ghost probably like betrayed Kanan in a way, I would say because it was his father's nightclub. Because I think it was the whole mission for Ghost was to, you know, have like the nightclub and an honor for his father. And I think that was probably like the big reason as to why he also like betrayed Kanan. But see, here's the thing in between like the betrayal, because seeing how like Ghost sent Kanan to prison, right? We don't know within that time if Phil Russo is still alive, and if Kanan was like dealing with the Italians. Because remember in the original Power where Kanan said that he hated dealing with the Italians. So it was maybe a slight hint as to what probably happened in the past. Like maybe Kanan and Breeze were still working with the Italians at that point in time, right around like, you know, Ghost and Tommy. And was it that particular time where Ghost probably sent Kanan to prison, and then that's when Ghost and Tommy was, you know, the head runners, like they was essentially the ones to take over, and they was the ones to probably been working with the Italians for like a little bit, maybe for like a little while, right? Because depending on like who may be like the connect or the person that's going to be in charge, right? Where Kanan and Breeze are going to be getting they drugs from at the time. I mean, it could be Hafiz too, maybe, because Hafiz is another character I left out because I was like, well, if Rock she goes away, right? You have a fee, so it could either be the Italians or maybe it could be a fees that Kanan and Breeze could be getting their drugs and they wait from. But if it's the case, if it's either Hafiz or the Italians, then I think that it would probably make sense in a way where, um, Ghost and Tommy's probably like working with either or, and then that's when they kind of like work with them for like quite a while. I'm thinking probably like for a very long time until maybe something happens, and then that's when we probably might start to see an introduction to like maybe Lobos at some point in time in the story of, okay, like I guess like the 6-month period of when Ghost is starting to like get, I guess, the nightclub going, and he's starting to get stuff going for himself. And I think at that time we should probably start to see like Lobos, right? And then that's when it's like, okay, now here we are, this is the starting point of like Power, and this is where we get like Ghost in a suit, and he and Tasha's going to the opening of Truth. And I think that's where it should probably like culminate up to at that certain point in the story, because I think it's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be interesting if they kind of like do that, because again, we always known about the history between like, well, the little history that we know about Breeze, and then the story that happened between like Ghost and Kanan. And it's like, all right, now that we're going to get that in Power Origins, and a little bit of the story that we probably might get in Raising Kanan, right? I think it's going to only make sense as to why, like, Ghost did what he did, and then who is the people that Ghost and Tommy was working with before they met Lobos, because that's the big before part that we all probably scratching our heads about and probably curious about, like, how was they able to take over for so long, and then eventually they got Lobos came into New York City, and it was like, okay, now we got Lobos. And I like how they're gonna probably like tie up everything. Now I would like it too if they give us like maybe Mecca. Maybe if they show us like maybe Mecca at some point, because I want them to just bring in like all of the characters they was never able to bring in before. Like they give us Mecca, Julio, Ruiz, Ray. There's probably another character. I wouldn't say Dre, maybe Baby Dre, or maybe Dre's parents. I don't know. Maybe Dre. We'll see. We'll see on Dre. I don't know. Maybe Dre, but bring in like more characters that was like in the original part, and then give them just a little bit of story. Like I would prefer if them to give us like a little bit of story. Oh, and Zion, if I did not mention him, and Zion, like give us a little bit of story on each of these characters, and like, okay, these are these people that was like on the coming up, because I think that in the story, I think we probably would see Julio, and I think he will probably be like in the Tommy and the Ghost circle at some point in time, even though we know that Julio went to prison and had his time, right? But he was working with like Ghost and Tommy, and we don't know for how long. But if we get to see him also in like Power Origins, it would be great as well, because Julio was a very connected and a well-connected guy. So I wouldn't be surprised if we should probably see maybe a trickling of maybe like Julio and some other characters that should appear in like Power Origins, right? And like I said, for them to give us like more story on them as well. But yeah, like I said, I think it's gonna be like interesting. But my only gripe is with like Power Origins, because I know it's gonna be a great show. It's gonna be a really great show, and we're gonna be getting like more story on Ghost, more story on Tommy, right? We're gonna get to see like Ghost's father, maybe more family on Ghost's side, Tony Teresi and the stuff that he was doing, and maybe the other Italian families, right? We're gonna get to see all of that. But let me know in the comment section down below, like, does it really matter at the end of the day that if we get all this great backstory, which is needed for the characters, but does it really matter at the end of the day if only 2 characters is actually alive in the future, meaning like a Tommy and Tasha, and everybody else is dead? Because I know that they probably, if there's some rumors about a spin-off show that's going to be coming into the future, wouldn't it be nice to see like maybe some of the original characters that didn't get killed appear like maybe in a spin-off? Like I wouldn't mind to see like if Lulu's alive, I wouldn't mind to see Lulu, like Lulu's like alive or whatever. maybe Rock, even though they all could be older at the time, but I would not mind it at all. I would not mind it. Like they appear in like in this new spinoff, so it doesn't feel like okay, we've gotten all these characters that we sort of like, and they just dead and that's it. And then here's the spinoff, and it's even probably like Tariq, Braden, and Tommy, and whoever else. But it's like that's fine and all, but I would like it if we get to see like more of these characters that we didn't get to see, or bring them back and bring back some characters that didn't die and just bring them back in a spinoff and then make it interesting. Because I know some people were saying like they like original Power, they like Raising Kanan, they didn't really like Power Book 2 Ghost as much, and some people was like in between on the Power Book 4 Force, like the Tommy show. They was kind of like in the middle with that. They was like it's alright, but it's not like the original where it gave you that original feel to it, and it's understandable. I can hear that, clearly hear that, but I'm like, what are they gonna probably do in the spinoffs? We don't know, but like I said, the stuff that they're gonna give us in Power Origins with all these different types of characters, I would like for them to flesh out some story and give us what we needed. Because obviously, yeah, they're gonna give us Tommy, they're gonna give us Ghost, more stuff on Breeze and Kanan, which is fine. But we got Rolla, like I said, Rolla, Ruiz, Julio, right? Maybe Dre, right? Like all these other characters, Zion, maybe. But it really depends on what they're gonna probably do and what they might give us. But I am looking forward to the show, and I am looking forward to seeing like what they could probably do with Ghost's story, because I'm pretty sure it's gonna go probably like this. Like depending on how many seasons they might give us, it could probably be either 5 seasons, 6 seasons, and maybe within the 4th or the 5th season, depending on Ghost is gonna kill Breeze. Kanan might get pissed off. He will be pissed off about it. Then maybe towards the ending of Power Origins, that's when Ghost is going to put the plans into effect, and then he's going to have Kanan go away to prison for a little while Ghost and Tommy's going to work on the streets. And depending on who they're going to be working for, either Hafiz or maybe one of the Italian families, and they're going to continue the wait after that, then I think it would probably make sense if we get to see like, okay, it's Breeze and maybe Breeze and Kanan's crew, and then after that, then we get to see like Ghost and Tommy's crew, and then they bring in like maybe Rolla, then they probably bring in Julio, then they probably bring in whoever else that's part, and then they could probably go from there. But we shall see. We shall see what they probably might do. But I am looking forward to it though. I really am, because it's going to be interesting. But overall, drop your comments and your thoughts down below on what you guys think, and like, comment, subscribe, and share. And I catch you all in the next one.